In 1918, U.S. Navy cargo ship named the USS Cyclops sailed into the open Atlantic with 309 men, 11,000 tons of manganese, or in a hole longer than 2 football fields. It was reportedly one of the most valuable vessels of its time, a floating warehouse of cargo and steel. And somewhere between Barbados and Baltimore, it vanished. No wreckage, no mayday, no oil slick. By modern accounting, the combined value of similar class vessels lost in that same stretch of ocean over the last century climbs past $800 million. When you adjust for inflation, cargo, and insured loss, and here is the part that almost nobody talks about. Many of those disappearances paid out. You have probably heard of the Bermuda Triangle, a triangle of ocean between Miami, Bermuda, and Puerto Rico, the place where ships go to die, supposedly because of compasses, sea monsters, or something stranger. But strip away the legend, and what is left looks far more like an economic story than a paranormal one. The shipping industry has been operating in those waters for over 100 years. Insurance has been written on those routes for just as long. And somewhere inside the gap between what gets lost and what gets paid, there is a pattern most documentaries refuse to explore. Let me explain the setup. A cargo ship is not just steel and engines. It is a financial instrument. A modern Panamax-class vessel can be worth anywhere from $40 to $70 million on its own. And the cargo riding on it can be worth several times that. Add fuel, charter contracts, and crew wages. And a single bulk carrier moving across the Atlantic is essentially a small fortune floating on borrowed credit. Imagine that ship is aging. Imagine its scrap value is creeping closer to its insured value. Imagine the cost of maintenance, dry docking, and compliance is suddenly higher than the freight revenue it can earn. What happens to that ship? In a perfectly honest world, it goes to a breaker's yard in Bangladesh or Pakistan. In the real world, sometimes it just disappears. Industry estimates suggest that roughly 50 large vessels are lost at sea every year worldwide. Most of them are explained by weather, by mechanical failure, by container stacks shifting in heavy swells. A small fraction of those losses, according to maritime insurance reports, are flagged as suspicious. Suspicious meaning the timing is convenient. Suspicious meaning the cargo manifest looks inflated. Suspicious meaning the ship was reportedly overinsured. In the Bermuda Triangle, statistically, sees a higher share of these flagged cases than other comparable shipping corridors. Not because the ocean is haunted, because the ocean is deep. This is where the $800 million number starts to make sense. When you stack up the insured losses tied to that single corridor across decades, it's from older incidents like the SS Cotopaxi in 1925 to more recent disputed losses involving tramp vessels carrying mixed cargo, the total balloons fast. The Cotopaxi alone was carrying coal worth a fortune in modern dollars. And her wreck was reportedly identified off the Florida coast in 2020 by a marine biologist team that matched her dimensions to the original shipyard records. The mystery, in other words, was never that supernatural. The mystery was who paid out the policy. Here is where it gets interesting. Maritime insurance works on something called subrogation. When a hull is declared a total loss, the insurer covers the value, and the insurer then takes ownership of whatever's left. If nothing is left, because the ship is in 3,000 meters of salt water, the case quietly closes. No salvage operation, no forensic teardown, no way to prove what cargo was actually on board versus what was listed on paper. For a ship owner facing rising fuel costs, expiring class certificates, and a hull that has lost market value, the Bermuda Triangle is not a mystery. It is a clean ledger. Now, this does not mean every loss in those waters is fraud. Most are not. The Atlantic is genuinely dangerous in that region. Sudden squalls, the Gulf Stream cutting across the route, methane plumes from the seabed in rare cases, and one of the busiest shipping lanes on Earth. Real ships sink for real reasons every year. But the economic geometry is striking. Older tonnage tends to find its way into routes where seabed depth makes investigation impractical. Younger, more valuable tonnage tends to take routes where loss would be costly to fake. Insurance underwriters reportedly factor this into premiums quietly, raising rates on aging vessels routed through deepwater corridors. And here is the part that touches your life.
Oh, when a hull
is lost, accidentally or otherwise, The cargo insurance market absorbs the hit. Premiums on the next shipment go up. The cost of moving electronics, coffee, fertilizer, and consumer goods through the Atlantic climbs by a fraction of a percent. Multiply that across millions of containers, and the legend of the Bermuda Triangle quietly funds itself through your shopping cart. The shirt you bought last month, the phone in your hand, the coffee in your cup, small slices of their final price reportedly cover ocean losses you never heard about. Who profits from this arrangement? The answer depends on who you ask. Underwriters profit when premiums rise faster than claims. Shipowners profit when older vessels exit the fleet at insured value rather than scrap value. Lawyers profit when claims are contested. Reinsurers profit when the math is opaque. And the legend itself, the supernatural framing of the Bermuda Triangle, profits everyone because it discourages the kind of forensic curiosity that might otherwise demand answers. It is far easier to blame magnetic anomalies than to audit a paper trail. The crew, of course, does not profit. Roughly 75 seafarers lose their lives in major incidents every year worldwide, and many of them come from countries where families have no real legal route to pursue compensation when a ship operates under a flag of convenience. Flag of convenience registries, Panama, Liberia, the Marshall Islands, reportedly handle the majority of the world's tonnage, and they offer shipowners lower taxes, lighter labor rules, and shorter inquiry chains when something goes wrong. When a vessel disappears, the registry that issued the flag is often the one charged with investigating, and the conflict of interest is structural. So what does the $800 million Bermuda Triangle vessel actually look like? It is not a single ship. It is 100 years of overlapping incidents, inflated cargo manifests, deep water losses, insurance settlements that quietly disappeared into the books. Some are tragic accidents, some are reportedly disputed. And the few that get investigated rarely make headlines because the seabed keeps its secrets and the policies pay out either way. The next time someone tells you the Bermuda Triangle is haunted, ask them a different question. Ask them who collects the check. Because the strangest thing about that stretch of ocean is not what it swallows. The strangest thing is what the swallowing covers up. And if you want to know how the rest of this hidden economy works, how ghost fleets are still running today, how empty ships are, now worth more than full ones, and why one container blockage costs the world $10 billion in a week, keep watching. The ocean is full of money. Just have to know where to look.